Well, actually, slightly early today. Hello, world. How's it going for your Wednesday today? Uh, kind of a heavier video this week. A lot of stuff in there. I may have got a little bit carried away with the demonstrating that other, you know, political movements have been seriously compromised, but I feel like that is necessary to accept my premise, like to begin with. You know, because a lot, none of this stuff is conspiracy theories. This is all established fact for other political movements. So the idea that perhaps feminism has been compromised in some way, uh, did not seem outlandish to me, and the evidence is actually very easy to find. So here we are. My curiosity got the better of me, so we'll do the heresy video next week. Here's to that with a fresh cup of coffee. Good stuff. So, yeah, it's been a busy week, and it is less sunny today, so it's less insanely hot out here. So hopefully I can make it through the live stream this week without absolutely wilting. Like a flower in the desert, It's good stuff. What's up, somebody? How you doing? How's your Wednesday going? My hair is just does this. I did not curl this. I did not do. You notice it's only on the one side. So what ups? This is what it looks like after I cut all the split ends off. You gotta love curly hair because it's gonna stick up no matter what you do. But then people expect that, so it's hard to go wrong. I don't know. I like it a little more over my forehead. There we go. Mysterious. Ooh. Anyway, enough about my hair. Yeah, I was not expecting that evidence. What up, dude? How you doing? Dude isn't generically like my kids call me dude. Watch me being offensive. Okay, it's not even you. I am so like my little sister who is 20. I have to go pick her up on Saturday, and she is non-binary and goes by a completely different name now, and she's going to be living with us. So, my turf ass is like mildly terrified that she's going to hate me. So I'm just preoccupied with gender shit just anyway, even though it wasn't even part of the video this week. Sorry. What up? Nice to see you. Call everyone dude too. Right on. Yeah, comedy of errors. Exactly. I'm fond of saying that I live in a sitcom. That's just one small taste of all of that. Yeah, just a tiny. Yeah. And I have no idea how that's gonna go. She may decide that she's my new best friend, or that she can't stand me because I remind her too much of our dad, or anything in between. I have no idea. I have not seen her in years. Since our oldest two. Today's his 7th birthday, and I have not seen her since he was a baby. So, to be honest, you're the only turf I like. I don't think you give off hateful transphobic vibes. So this envy person will probably be fine. Right. My 16-year-old is also dating a non-binary person who actually reminds me a lot of my younger sister, my little sister, who is a few years older than she is. They are. All of them, actually. She's the oldest, but she's also been sheltered by my dad, so I actually think she's going to fit right in, and I think it could work, And, in my own life, I am not constantly going around picking fights with people about what does that accomplish other than to make me feel righteous? What the fuck? How is that not just alienating people? And if I have any confidence in my position, I feel no need to do that, especially with teenagers, okay? And like 20 somethings. Really, me as a middle aged woman, I'm going to go pick a fight with them about something, and that's how I'm going to convince them that I'm correct. Please. I was 17 once. I know how that will go. They won't listen to a damn thing I have to say anyway. What up, Mary? How you been? I'm pretty good. Like I say, I got to go get my sister on Saturday, who is a non-binary person. She's 20. Long story short, she's going to come stay with us for a while. Oh, you had surgery. Oh my God. How did that go? But anyways, yeah. So she's 20. Our oldest who lives with us is 18. And my son, who is her nephew, but they're more like cousins because he's 16. And they always got along real well when they were younger. So I'm not really worried about that. I think that she's going to fit in just fine. Can we talk sometime? Yeah. Like I say, I am a little, today is actually the littlest one's birthday. So like the minute I get off here, I have to run and go take care of that. And then Saturday, I'm headed to another state to pick up my sisters. So yeah, a little busy. Sometime this week. So like Monday, maybe it would probably be Monday, Tuesday would be better. Thanks. It's yeah, so it's a busy time. You know, this is probably, I don't know, as busy as Christmas, I want to say, this time of year. Hey, Big Plans, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. We've already got a RadChat going today, and we haven't even cracked our afternoons or evenings better. Evenings are probably better. Yeah. Because I will got whatever the bulk of it is that I'm supposed to do that day done. What was I saying? Yeah. So what was I saying? I'll on it. Busiest time, basically, compared to Christmas. Yeah. So like 8 p.m. Yeah, that should be fine. It should be fine. Again, it's not school year, so I don't have to do bedtime at 8, which is what I normally would during, you know. Oh, I am looking forward to school, though. I am. I am just swamped, you know. Okay, cool. Rock and roll. Yeah, I do. I have reason to think that she'll. Okay, cool. Talk to you then. I have reason to think that she's going to fit right in. So it's not like I'm super worried about it or anything. And again, I'm not going to be like pressuring her with like woman stuff. Like, that's not how that works. If I have any confidence in my position whatsoever, all I should have to do is sit back and wait and like gently nudge at the appropriate moment, maybe, right? That's it. Because the truth will out, and then you just have to be like, yep, I'm just gonna, be supportive. And that's, make things available. That's just how I've always kind of approached it, for the most part. You make resources available, because I don't care how old you are. If your parents or some older person are like trying to force you to be into something, are you going to be truly into that thing? Probably not, right? Probably not. It's tricky. You have to like discover stuff along with them, or like, show them things in this discovery sort of way, If you force them to sit down and watch a movie, they're going to hate that movie. Right? On the other hand, my 6-year-old surprised me. He's 7 today, but he was 6 at the time. He surprised me. Was this over Christmas break? Something like that. by loving the money pit. He thought the money pit was hilarious. So, you never know. You never know. I put it on. I'm like, hey, here's a screwball comedy. Here's something we can both, hopefully sit through. And he liked it so much, he asked me to watch it again. So, you just never know. But yeah, so what did you guys think of the video? Did you get a chance to watch the video yet? The idea is that people will come to the premiere and then also the live stream, so it's kind of one event. No, but fine if you didn't watch it. The thesis is fairly straightforward. I don't necessarily want to state it, just like the whole thing makes me so nervous. You know that? The whole thing makes me so nervous. Because if it's true, I don't want to be walking around with a target on my back, getting wires at my hotel room at 4:30 in the morning. Or the equivalent, the modern equivalent thereof, whatever that is. We're trying to embarrass an asset. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. And, maybe I should have left in a little bit more of what Mort had to say, but I feel like he talked for kind of a long time. But, yeah, no, he considered Gloria to be a friend of his. You'd have the plot for a whole new book series. Wait, which thing would be exciting? Oh. Me being pursued by the government? Ew. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like how, I want to actually live that sort of adventure. No. No. No, and that was also part of the reason that I just went ahead and took a whack at this now. So, it's already out there. Nobody cares about me. No one knows who I am. I'm still such a tiny fish. I just can't imagine anybody gives a fuck. Maybe that's my own pessimism. But it's really, it's hard to be. It's hard to, on the one hand, be like, why aren't my videos getting the views? Why am I having such, why is it taking so long to build the audience, to build the channel? And on the other hand, being like, I think the government is after me. Like, no. Like, either nobody cares or I'm the center of some conspiracy. Like, I feel like those two things cannot be true at the same time. And I'm probably, just number one, I feel like is more reasonable, more is the simpler answer. Yeah. My videos don't get very many views because nobody knows who I am. Duh. Which strikes me as odd because don't those types usually hate feminists? Wait. On a related point to it, I've heard some things about infiltration of some feminist groups by neo-Nazis or far-right women. Which strikes me as odd because don't those types usually hate feminists? Well, obviously they would be trying to do the same thing. Like, there's a term for that. I forget what it is, where you go in and try and dismantle something from the inside. You know what I'm saying? You like steer it in the wrong direction, lead it poorly. Which, like, if poor leadership is some sort of opposition strategy, well, that explains a whole hell of a lot. Of stuff that just looks like stupidity. Every once in a while, I start to think maybe somebody is actually trying to just sabotage something, like, I'm not saying everybody, but every so often I do have to wonder, like, God, that was stupid. Or was it? Like, they're not far right, but I've been listening to this audiobook called No One is Born in the Wrong Body, and the authors blame the trans movement on feminism. See, and that was, we covered that we covered something, a girl the other couple weeks ago, right? Making the case that they come from the same school of thought, basically, that they're like two branches of the same tree. And if not for the fact that apparently transsexualism and whatever has been a thing for like 100 years, you could argue that. But I love how she just left out all that stuff from, before the 1960s. She literally leapt from like ancient Greece to the 1960s. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you're covering the history of trans rights, you just skipped a whole lot of stuff. But whatever, I guess it depends on what you mean by the trans movement. If you're talking about transsexuals, then what I just said. But if you're talking about transgenderism, Judith Butler, philosophical, tearing down patriarchy nonsense, then yeah, she has a point. I feel like she can and this is why, like, guys, when I have more time to workshop these videos, they are going to get so much better. And by more time, I mean, yeah, like the kids are going to go back to school, but I'm also writing a novel and I still have the kids and da-da-da-da. But like a few years from now, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about the future content that I'm going to be putting out, because there's so many things I feel want to add, like, to the videos, right? To the point where I'm choking myself. I'm trying to talk too fast. Where, yeah, she does. She makes a valid point there, but I feel like she conflated almost like the two halves of the trans movement, if you will, in the way that everyone does these days. But I'm not sure that that's fair, and that point's been made by like a lot of people. So whatever you say about trans rights, there is legitimately like two sides to that one, because they conflict with one another, don't they? So yeah. Nobody wants to accept this about feminism, though. Feminism is a fucking monolith, right? They can literally put up a couple of quotes from a couple of old books and be like, there's feminism. It's like, no. I mean, yeah, but like, also no. Also, all the rest of this stuff. And I do need to mention in a video recently, like at some point it's coming up, how like somehow no one's quoting Andrea Dworkin anymore. It's like she just disappeared, which is sort of strange. And like she and Shulamith Firestone were contemporaries, so it's not because it's old. And Andrea Dworkin lived into this century. She was writing stuff into this century, so it's not like you don't even have to go that far. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not my personal favorite, but goodness knows she's a Radfem favorite. She makes too damn much sense. Truly, I think that's what it is. My flatmate very much speaks of feminism as a monolith, as depressing as it is. Right. So then each individual feminist is left trying to turn this giant monolith. And fuck that. I don't necessarily take responsibility for everyone who calls themselves a goddamn feminist or even a radical feminist. People are allowed to believe and call themselves whatever they want, right? It seems like, in the eyes of normie men, feminism is whatever comes out of the mouths of those OnlyFans models who go on Dude Bro podcasts saying maybe women should have the right to vote or something. Last I heard, women do have the right to vote, and thank goodness for that, because I get to take at least two young women in, probably for their first time. I know ours is going to have hers this year. She's never got to vote before. She just turned 18 in January, and then my sister is 20, but so the last presidential election, she would have been 16. So, that's going to be fun. And I would really like to be able to take them over there to vote for somebody who has a brain cell that functions. The latest buzz on that is Parkinson's disease, which is fun. And some sort of cover-up involving that, which, would sound insane if not for all the stuff that's been declassified about previous administrations. Right? Where they literally they covered up health conditions for previous presidents, sometimes to the point where you look back at that and you go, holy shit, the list of drugs this guy was on every day is kind of terrifying. Why? Where they, that seems like the kind of thing that might be important when considering who should have that job. So it is, corrupt as all hell, right? To cover up your health conditions when you're trying to be in charge of stuff. That's corrupt as all hell. just selfish. There's absolutely no other motive for that. Oh, we wouldn't want people to worry about. Yeah, no, people should be worried about that. We're trying to keep the country calm at wartime. No. You keep people calm by calmly giving them straightforward facts. God, as if the public are just a bunch of lemmings that are gonna panic at any. I'm sorry, but how does social panic work? Do you suppose the media have any role in that? I don't know. Duh. Obviously. So they could try playing a different role in that. Just a thought. It probably wouldn't drive the clicks, though, right? But we must keep capitalism because innovation or something. I don't know. We must let capitalism commodify everything, including knowledge of the world at large, because innovation or some junk. How in the hell anybody is supposed to innovate anything without being able to learn anything reliably? Not sure of that, and forget relativism. Like, we're not even talking relativism at this point because AI can just make shit up. Just create, historical photos from nothing. Well, I guess not from nothing, from actual historical photos, and then confuse the Google search. Like, I've already seen people complaining about how Google search is, image search is turning bullshit because all the AI shit that's out there floating around. So, if we manage to commodify ourselves into nonsense, not to get too tinfoil hat, right? But nothing's too tinfoil hat for the Rad Mom RadChat. Come on. We like to have fun connecting dots. We can entertain ideas without necessarily having to agree with them, right? If realistic AI images only got released to the public recently, the U.S. government probably had it at least a decade ago, right? Oh, ouch. If past the prologue, arguably plausible, yeah, all right. Could be fake. Wait. So think of all the important political videos. Could be fake, just saying. Oh. I don't even want to think about that. Just terrifying. The reason that I believe that is not the case is because of how I am familiar with the way computing works and, like, the way programming works and, like, the way, like, just the way that it's jumped in the last few years is not because it was just recently made available to the public. No, it's because literally that's how it went from it's the logarithmic scale logarithmic graph thing. We've reached critical mass, and so it's exploding upwards. Okay. I don't know that AI was necessarily created by the government. Like, is there a reason that they would have had it before the dude bros in Silicon Valley? I don't know. I'll take your word for it. I don't know shit about computers. Yeah, no, I was raised by programmers and engineers and all those boring people. So, and I've dated a couple of programmers too. Like, I've seen the way that they'll just play and fiddle with stuff, and I've talked to them about their projects and the way all that shit works. And like, literally 1 year something will be an impossible fever dream, and the next year everybody will be doing it. It's bonkers. The explanation is way less fun. That is just the legitimate progression of the way that shit is developing. But I just don't see any evidence of, again, like I said about the thing with the feminist activists being targeted. That sounds great. Find me evidence, and I just don't see any evidence that, with as much attention as, like, people pay hyper amounts of attention. People have become hyper attentive to, like, the details of stuff, right? So, and, like, different camera angles, and, like, everybody has a phone in their pocket, a camera in their pocket, right? So I just don't think, like, if something were fishy, this is a Mandela effect, right? This has already happened when people think that something is fishy, with an old video or an old, whatever, as compared to, like people are on that. I don't see. So not only do I not see evidence that the government's been hiding AI videos from us, I see evidence to contradict that idea from a couple of different angles, from the technological and the social angle. And I'm not an expert on either of those, but from where I'm sitting, that is what it looks. Sorry. I do like me a good conspiracy theory, but that one doesn't hold up. You work in stats and programming and agree. It's crazy how shit evolves in the tech world. Right? Thank you, Sarah. Hey, how you doing? Right. See, so I do love me a good conspiracy theory, but I don't think that one holds water. Sorry. And anyways, if I jump on every theory I hear, I just look like a kook. I have to maintain some integrity. Speaking of my bullshit integrity, where are my cigarettes? I don't know. Might have to go inside and find my smokes, y'all. Boo. Well, on the bright side, I don't have to find them. I know right where they are. So, a million apologies. I will be right back. Beep. You're right. Been traveling and missed the chats. Oh, where did you go? Yeah, we've been pretty good. Like I was saying earlier, my youngest has a birthday today. And then this weekend I get to go pick up my sister who is 20 and she's going to come and live with us. So that's exciting. I already told you about the suffragette taxi ads I got, didn't I? No. What is that? That sounds weird. I will smoke the one that fell on the ground. It's bad for me anyway. Oh my god, it's the worst. Yeah, it sounds like it. Just around the East Coast, beaches and parks. That does sound nice. I get to go to Kentucky this weekend. And then turn around and come right back. I don't know. I might stay for lunch or something, but there's this taxi company called Free Now, and they do these ads with AI videos of historical figures like Churchill. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, really, do you think they would have been able to keep wraps on that kind of thing? Do you really think that they would have been able to keep their hands out of the AI cookie jar and been like subtle about it? Because the way this is actually going leads me to think otherwise. One of them was literally Emily Panker saying, "My sisters and I didn't sacrifice everything so you could sit in traffic on a B road." Not only using her image and voice, but literally referencing her suicide and protest in the ad. Yeah. I used to feel like such a sourpuss. Complaining about, imagine what I said in the video about all that hippie shit being destructive and whatever. Like, I know of what I speak, okay? And a lot of that music and a lot of that stuff really meant a lot to me as a younger person. Still does, I guess. But, so then, to take a song that means something to people and put it in an ad to sell me a computer or a car or whatever, that shit used to just offend the shit out of me. And I felt like a pearl-clutching old lady, But that shit has just got worse and worse and worse to the point where, like, everyone has had something they love get commodified in this weird way, I think. The law is so behind on protecting people. No kidding. What up, Brad? Hey, you should go to the Knoxville Fanboy Expo. Gina Carano is going to be there. Why would I? What? Okay. That seems like a bit of a random connection, but I'm open to suggestions. I have to go to Kentucky this weekend. Goof. The whole country is going to the bad place because of them. Wait. Oh, yeah, no kidding. Heard from someone who works in AI that it's literally developing too fast for legislative bodies to properly. Oh, absolutely. There's all kinds of things that fall into that category. Because legislative bodies work, at glacial speed, right? Like the unusual process of having investigatory committees do and such to inform lawmakers just can't keep pace. Yeah, no. I'm sure they, Shit, the individual can hardly keep pace with that stuff. That's been an issue since the net. It's crazy how bad we are at keeping up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true for most developing countries. Right. Anytime you try to legislate it, somebody screams free market. Oh, yeah, over here for sure. Again, over in the UK, I don't know how ridiculously libertarian things have become over there. But yeah, over here, yeah, they're like anti-regulation for all new technologies, sort of basically as a benchmark, as a starting point. And it's just kind of extreme, really. But, innovation, again, we're just going to commodify ourselves into nonsense. And I was saying this to my son this morning for some reason. That is actually why I hate capitalism, is because I realized that, like, it's not a system that benefits human beings. Capitalism benefits capital. Which, being a human being, I would prefer to live in some sort of social economic system where, human beings are prioritized instead of some inanimate concept that we made up. Like, what is that? So, the fact that it has developed to a point that no longer makes any human sense, it's not completely out of the realm of explanation for me personally, And people talk about late stage capitalism. I don't know if capitalism is eating itself, but it's certainly eating our culture. Hey, kitty cat, how you doing? Fuck innovation, no commodification. Well, and the point that my son made was that, like, necessity is the mother of innovation. Hello. But it's a lot more difficult to have endless mushrooming growth that way. It's a lot more difficult to line your pockets to a ridiculous extent that way. And it's not exciting most of the time. No, and so what I was just saying, I'm going to repeat that because it's one of the most important things to me that, in these modern times is that the reason that capitalism has stopped making any human sense, I don't know if it's eating itself, but it's certainly eating human culture, because capitalism is not for the benefit of humankind. Okay, capitalism is for the benefit of capital. Right? So we literally live in a system that is not built for us. What? Which, as a human being, I object to that. That can't possibly be the best. That can't possibly be. Right. No, under capitalism, capital is the biggest motivator for innovation. Capital is the biggest motivator for anything, which is dumb, because the world, we invented it. Oh, it's so dumb. That's so dumb. And the end result is pretty much the same, where, most of us are working ourselves half to death to line the pockets of a very few. And I'm not the first person to make this point, obviously, but the difference between feudalism and that is what? So, yeah. I came at the best time chatting about anti-capitalism. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Yeah, no, that's pretty much what I got. Because I got a spaceline. I mean, what led me to this? And this is sort of a loose thought. I haven't really put this into words super well yet, but like, what led me to that thought was the fact that, like, there is no place for moms in the marketplace, right? We're consumers, maybe, but that's it. That's it. Like, there's no, like, brand name to hang my hat on. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no consumer culture identity that isn't absolutely insane. Okay, like, and it's just so that's just so completely impractical. Okay, like, narcissistic mommy bloggers. That no, that's not. It's like people, but you can see it's like people are trying to fill that space because it does exist, right? And capitalism has never known what to make of that, right? So they tried to turn us into hyper consumers, and then they tried to turn us into workers. And both of those were meh, you know. But because it was pondering the idea of, like, why exactly the fuck isn't there anything in the culture that reflects my experience? Why in the fuck is that? I'm not the only person to be a mom. What the fuck is that? Like, oh, I'm so special. That what? No. Moms are free labor. They raise the next generation under the working tools for right. Yeah, exactly. But apparently they think that it would be more efficient to have not that for some reason. For reasons, capital does not give a fuck about warm human fuzzy feelings, or human happiness in general, right? And, I suppose it would probably be more efficient to industrialize that process somehow, like they have everything else. And now I sound insane. I know. But, like, again, I'm willing to dismiss, like, stuff if it doesn't add up to me. But this, I just think this segment, I've been pondering this one for a long time, actually, because I haven't been able to find a reason to discount it. And all, things just keep sort of converging in this direction for me. And I'm like, I hate that. But, right, human breeding stock. Right. But we all know how inefficient actually having humans do things is, right? So, as an aspiring accountant, I can say I 100% detest capitalism. Yeah, right. I think that the people who work the closest with money are often the people who hate it the most. Ironically. I've definitely noticed that. Which, makes sense if you look at it the way I was saying, how the whole system is not set up to. It is indifferent to human happiness, Maybe that's the system everybody's complaining about, Reality doesn't care about your feelings. Well, capitalism doesn't care about your feelings. I don't know. I could make that some sort of Freudian connection of calling capitalism reality, but that might be a stretch. At least, speaking broadly. So, yeah, I don't know. That's about what I got on that subject. And it makes hypocrites out of everybody because we're forced to live in this system, right? We're supposed to forced to exist in this system. What am I going to do but live in the woods? Yeah, that's a great way to spread my message. Oh, okay. So, obviously I would like to grow the channel. And obviously I would like to better fund the channel and better fund my efforts and, actually get to travel and maybe do some fun stuff and cool stuff and meet some interesting people and do interviews and all that cool stuff, right? Someday. Like I say, over the next few years, I have big ideas about what I would like to do on the channel. And it's going to be exciting to be able to devote some more time to things this fall. And I always say that, and then school stuff always gets in the way. Not always, not entirely. But it's still a balancing act, you know. I used to work in the hospital. I had to quit because capital came before human health, safety, and even life. I wasn't prepared to kill someone by neglecting to look the other way on faulty equipment. You see, and this is what I'm saying, on a human level that makes no fucking sense. Why should you ask someone to do that? That's so unethical. Capital doesn't have any fucking ethics, does it? Nope. Doesn't give a fuck to save a few bucks. You're right. Not for yourself, though. Oh, no. You weren't actually going to see any benefit from, that ethical nightmare. Oh, and then, of course, if you had gone through with that, being complicit in that shit makes it harder to point it out. And so I became anti-capitalist. You're right. Yeah, capitalism kills. That's what I'm fond of saying, too. Because it fucking does. You're going to charge somebody an arm and a leg for medicine that if they don't get it, they're going to die? How exactly is it free market anything? No, and I wonder sometimes if the powers that be haven't got too big for their britches or something, because they've just been going around flagrantly doing absolutely insane shit in this era where we are under more and more surveillance. Not just, because J. Edgar Hoover was a madman. No, but like I say, now everybody has a camera in their fucking pocket. Because there are CCTV cameras all over the place, right? Just as a matter of course. It doesn't matter if you are a celebrity or a politician or whoever. There's a whole lot better chance now that there's going to be evidence of your doings available to whomever, right? And so it just, peel the lid back on this stuff, and there's just all kinds of crazy shit that you find. And it's so easy to find. Free market under capitalism means free for elites to exploit without restraint. Yeah. I think privacy issue could be considered a human right. Oh, yeah. Imagine a world where that was true. Ugh. I don't know. In order for that to be a good world, I feel like we'd have to change one or two other things, because I know a couple of... Well, for some reason, Warren Jeffs comes to mind. There's somebody who took all, terrible liberties with his privacy, right? Oh, my God. So, my libertarian sympathies have their limits, okay? Like, I don't know. You agree. Red agrees with you. Emblem Americum. Yes, it probably does, but communism hasn't been able to work effectively either. I wish we could have a system that has all the benefits of a free market capitalism without the inevitable greed. Right. And I'm not saying we need to destroy capitalism or anything, but some checks and balances would be fantastic, because, as I say, capitalism itself is not set up to benefit humanity. That's not what it's for. So, perhaps we ought to do that. As human beings, perhaps we ought to put ourselves in charge of making sure that the system serves us. Isn't that what the government is supposed to do? right? I mean, if you want to think of it like the government is like the union for the populace, right? There are elected officials who represent us on the world's global scale, right? On the national and global scale. They are like our civic union, right? Who, if you think about it that way, they are really, really bad at their job. Really, really, really bad at their job. But, I feel like over the last couple of generations, people have really lost sight of what the fuck it is the government is supposed to do. I'm King Critical Clip Show. You know what? I'm about to go watch that later anyway, because I think he's entertaining. I don't know what to say. But he and I have our videos come out on the same day, which is funny. So, who else used to be on the same day as me a lot? I guess that was because it was Saturday. Brittany. I kind of miss her. I hope she's okay. Anyway. What we need is a blended socialist movement. Communism lends itself to dictatorships. It's not communism that fails, it's dictatorships. Oh, yeah. Because, if you put the government in charge of all the resources, and all you got to do is have a figurehead of that government, and bam, you've got yourself a dictatorship. Congratulations. Yeah, so I'm not sitting here. And again, I'm not an economist. I am not necessarily the expert to sit here and come up with the solutions to all of these problems. It can be helpful to have problems well articulated, right? In the hopes of helping someone else to maybe come up with some answers to some of these things. I just know that what we're doing is not working. It's not working. And I hate to be in agony about it. If I had a great, economic solution, I would share it with you. I do not know. Nah, you can't reform capitalism. That doesn't mean we have to organize politically within communism. Don't tell me we can put people on the moon, but can't come up with a third way to organize society. There's an argument I've heard before, too. There's an oldie but a goodie. Right. Yeah. Like I say, there must be one. I'm not the person to come up with it, I don't think, unfortunately. But I'm certainly not sitting here telling you that communism is the way either. And it's difficult to imagine, an economy without capital. It's hard to imagine a world without an economy, So my resources there are limited, unfortunately, but I could not agree more. We can do better. Why are we trying to convince ourselves we can't do any better? That might be a question I could possibly answer. Yeah, talking about the problem is still helpful even if you don't have the solutions. Right, yeah. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to articulate problems, not just complain. Although it's a fine line, admittedly. What up, Philological? We were just the fine line between complaining and articulating problems. I like to think that I articulate problems in the hope that, we can all work on formulating solutions. Knowing is half the battle, right? So that's my half a lot of the time, unfortunately, I find. But yeah, no, I'm not the first person to articulate a lot of these problems with any of these problems, I don't think, with capitalism. But it's also the sort of thing that once you've seen it, what are you going to do? Not observe it? What am I going to do? Not sit here and call bullshit on that? I once again, integrity demands I say something when it comes up, and sometimes even when it doesn't, because, well, these things are like important and all that jazz. Everybody stop talking about her. She's back. Nice. Yeah. So look at that. We'll just do it to everybody. Next time you leave, it'll be time to riot. Ooh, look, I found my other box of cigarettes, the one I went in the house for. Whatever. I'm just sitting on them. I'm trying so hard to stay animated for you guys today, I promise. Because we've been propagandized by the push of the Tina syndrome by the Thatcher and Reagan era. Tina. Remind me what that is. Please. This sounds like maybe you're... There is no alternative. Yeah. Yeah. It's the very essence of a false dichotomy, right? Yeah. And yeah, no, they are our civic union. And it's like people have forgotten a civic union. That means like a gay marriage. No, civic, as in civics, as in citizens, right? And union, like a work union. You elect people to go and represent you on a larger scale, you know. That's what that is. It's the citizens union. Is what government is supposed to be. And yeah, they do not do their job very well in that regard, I don't think. But again, if you want to go back to Reagan and Thatcher era, you know, they were talking about a government so small you could drown it in the bathtub, whatever the fuck that means. They were talking about the scariest words in the English language are I'm from the government and I'm here to help, which is literally their goddamn job. So what exactly did he think he was doing? And you want to talk about something that would have sounded like a conspiracy theory 20 years ago. Apparently Reagan was, you know, selling weapons to Iran and consulting astrologers to schedule his meetings. So make of that what you will. Exactly how seriously did he take that gig? I think it begs the question. And again, the astrologer thing, that was Nancy's bit, but she's his wife, you know, and they're like this, right? That's the kind of thing that they kept private, secret from the American public at the time because they know it makes them look fucking bonkers. Because the president of the United States consulting an astrologer to time his meetings and whatever is fucking bonkers. And, you know, might undermine the public's confidence in his ability to take the job seriously. But obviously they weren't going to tell anybody that. They weren't going to let that shit out. That's the kind of thing I mean. Like, it's not even just their health conditions. It's also stuff like that. Like, so, you know, freedom of the press, what the fuck is that? The press is all owned by the same people who fund the politicians. Which is not a conspiracy theory. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. These are just facts. I hate it. I hate it so much. Ugh. Get rid of regulations because they don't work as politicians for the people, but for elite capitalists. They represent them and we're just mouthpieces. They didn't have to think. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, exactly. Oh, but it's just so depressing, you know, I really, you know, I do. I feel like 20, 30 years ago, the person at the party who discussed this kind of stuff would have been the person they didn't invite to the next party because what a weirdo downer. What a conspiracy. What a tinfoil hat nutcase. Okay. Like, so, you know, the fact that a lot of this stuff is just now established fact is taking some time, I think, to sink in, frankly. Some of the stuff that's been declassified over the last 10 years is just jaw-dropping. Yeah, I think it's taking time to sink in, not just for me either. It's taking time to filter through society at large, too. You know, this information. Like, I saw somebody else talking about, I wrote a blog post about Jackson Pollock and modern art in Europe being funded by the CIA like 6 years ago. because I found an article talking about a declassified document from the 80s, you guys. From like the year I was born. It probably makes hardcore conspiracy theory movements stronger, but there have been some real ones. Right. Well, okay. The difference between a rumor and a conspiracy theory is murky. Okay? Because a conspiracy theory arguably is something that somebody came up with, right? That's what I would say. A conspiracy theory, a true one, is something that somebody looked at some facts and went, this looks like that, and then declared that to be the case, right? Whereas a rumor would be like, I don't know that bit about the FBI targeting black activists. That would have sounded like a conspiracy theory when I was younger. That was the kind of thing I heard about, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, whatever. No. That was a real thing that, the break-in, and they actually passed, laws in response to all of that. And like, no, that was a true, actual, real thing that we should have learned about in school as part of learning about the civil rights movement, right? And they just leave that part out. It's not tinfoil hat to believe capitalists control the narrative and control of institutions in capitalism. Tinfoil hat shit is water turning frogs gay and flat earth. Right. But so, that's what I'm saying. By that metric, by my metric, I would definitely count, what's his face? Oh, the frog guy. God damn it. He has like a generic name, but we all know who I'm talking about. Alex Jones. I would definitely lump Alex Jones in the first category of people who like looked at some data points and went, aha, I see the picture, right? As opposed to a rumor, which is, people talking about something they heard about a thing that actually happened, right? COINTELPRO, right? That actually happened. It sounds insane. And it's the kind of thing that I would hear about in, from like my parents' friends and whatever. And they're talking about me among, did you hear, blah, blah, blah. I read this book, blah, blah, blah. I remember back in the day, blah, like, people who are old enough to remember this shit. But otherwise, you would never have known about it because they do not talk about that stuff. Goodness knows you learn enough about the civil rights movement in school. They are very careful to cover all of that, but they sure as fuck don't cover that part. They're putting chemicals in the water, making the frogs gay. It's supposed to be for men with low T. That's funny. Sadly, very common for trans men, right? Yeah, I'm sure it is. But so, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Alex Jones freaking out on camera about that is an amazing clip to make him look like a maniac. And the worst part about it is what he was talking about was actually happening. So thanks a lot, Alex. Thanks a lot, you joker. Go home, will you? Just go the fuck home and stop making the rest of us look like crackpots, will you? Good Lord. Right, he sensationalized it a lot. That's what I'm saying. COINTELPRO still is happening. Just got right. That's basically that's what I was implying in my video, and that it does not just apply to the black community. Because I see no reason that it would. Do you? I mean, racism is fun and all, but we all know that if you're not with us, you're against us. Like, right? Like, I yeah, which is why I hesitated. This stuff, I do take this seriously. This is not a joke to me, and I hesitated to do this video at all. But I figure better now than later after I managed to make a lot of noise and actually get anybody's attention. It's only going to become harder and harder to say these sorts of things, right? Hypothetically, hopefully with more people listening, So I just went ahead and bit that off now. A lot of things are based on actual events, but portraying them in a misleading or over sensationalized way is still poor journalism at best and lying, manipulating at worst, which is what I was saying about using feminism to help support for war in the Middle East. It's like, yes, the Taliban are awful for women. We know that. I'm definitely not arguing with that assessment. But to focus on that, I hate to say it, but that's kind of beside the point, isn't it? Like, you're going to use that to try and drum up support for war in the Middle East? Like, really? You're going to use my feminist sympathies to try and get me to support American colonialism. That's what that is. Gloria Steinem worked for the CIA. I know, baby. That's what this week's video is about. You should go watch it. Please. Go watch it. Like, just go watch it. It's 20 minutes. I'll come back. I'll still be here. I remember frogs. I can't remember if it's all or most. Some will spontaneously change sex if they detect there isn't enough of the other sex around. Right. They don't think it's all frogs. Like, yeah. Some amphibians have that ability, right? I've read that too. So, yeah. No. And Alex Jones is just not a total nutcase because, lest we forget, he's also the person who managed to actually sneak into Bohemian Grove and film that weirdness in the first fucking place 20 some odd years ago, back when nobody knew any of that shit. And that was all a conspiracy theory too. Okay. Not to say that he hasn't had some sort of brain rot since then, but it's that's what I'm saying is you can't just draw a firm line. Which is awkward. It is. Because obviously I don't want to be associated with somebody like Alex Jones. Who does? No fucking body. I will. You just post your videos too early. I'm in the West. Okay. Haven't we all had a little brain rot since then? I don't know. 20 years ago, I was 20. I like to think I've evolved in the positive since then. But he's about 20 years older than me, so maybe that doesn't bode well for the future. But no, I just so and it's not even like we're somebody who I just detest. Like, let's take Rush Limbaugh, for example, because he's dead, so he can't sue me. Rush Limbaugh probably occasionally said a thing that was true. And I don't care. It does not in any way counterbalance all of the rest of the crazy shit that he said and did with his massive platform. At all. On the other hand, I think some of the stuff that, like that thing, like I say, about the Bohemian Grove, that's kind of a big deal. Like, what the fuck? That's actual investigative journalism, and who in the fuck does that anymore? And doesn't that make you wonder why he is universally seen as a crackpot now? I'm sorry, but, that's convenient, isn't it? I'm not speaking in defense of Alex Jones because, yeah, Sandy Hook, what the fuck? What the fuck? Dude, what are you on? What the fuck is wrong with you is all I have to say about that. But, so I'm not defending him. But at the same time, I'm looking at the 2 + 2 and I don't like that 4 at all. I don't like it. I don't like any of this stuff. What is it, baby? What's the matter, honey? Well, go poke her again. I'm on camera right now and I can't really come in there. Let's get off of that wire. I know. I see what you're doing. Leave it alone. You know why. Listen, I know myself. I'm going to have to come in there for a potty break in a minute and I will poke her, okay? If you don't want to. Or maybe we both will. 1 more hour, baby. I'm so sorry. I love you. 1 hour? I'll be in there in a minute. But I have to be on camera until 2. Go tell your brother. Then I'm going to have some harsh words for him. If he can't keep an eye on you for another hour, oh my gosh. My older boy is 16. Okay. I was babysitting at younger than that. Like, this is not an outrageous request. You know. Anyway. So I'm not sitting here talking about, oh, Alex Jones is such a genius. No. But on the other hand, he is impossible to just discount entirely as an entity in the way that I do like Rush Limbaugh. Okay, because Rush Limbaugh never added anything of value to anybody's knowledge of anything. Did he say some stuff that was true? Probably. He said a lot of shit. Was any of it an original thought or an original observation or an original discovery of any kind? Not that I ever heard, and unfortunately I chose him because I have ample experience from which to draw, unfortunately, thanks to family members who were big fans of his through the years. So on the one hand, you can just write some people off and just be like, nope, we're just gonna shelve that one. We're just gonna put that one aside. And then there are frustrating cases like Alex Jones where you can't just discredit everything he's ever done. You can't just discount everything he's ever done, you know? So I don't know. The fact that he ended up discrediting himself is kind of interesting, right? That's all I'm saying. Like, please, somebody shoot me, you know. Help me spitball this here. This is just like, the dude's a maniac. But anyway, I'm just gonna get off this because the reason that I harp on this at all is because it's frustrating to be somebody who's just trying to connect dots and like trying to do anything remotely resembling investigative journalism, which is like, you know, actually digging into facts about things. Because, you know, then if you actually manage to bring up fresh, incendiary, tantalizing information about something, I feel like half of people's initial reaction is to assume it's not true because they've never heard it before. You know? So you came up with that, so that's your conspiracy theory, as opposed to it being a rumor you found about something that actually happened. So but I do take this stuff seriously, and I see no reason not to believe. Okay, that guy Mortzall, I did not know who he was. That old clip from the Dick Cavett show. Dick Cavett was a talk show in the 70s, and like everybody was on that show because there were 3 fucking networks that existed at the time. 3, okay. And I didn't know who Mort Saul was, but apparently he was like the original stand-up comedian, like the first, like the number one granddaddy of all stand-up comedians. Okay. Which is why if you watch that clip for a minute, like the audience is kind of tittering at him for no apparent reason because they're expecting him to tell a joke. Oh my God, I had to stop and come back to say, if you haven't watched Human Resources Social Engineering in the 20th Century, a documentary that does a deep dive into social engineering within capitalism, you have to watch it. Ooh, okay. Where's my pencil? It goes into all that. Oh, nice. Nice. You know, and of course the Unabomber claimed to be part of MK Ultra. So that's fun. You know. Again, and I said this in the video, but I only said it once, and I didn't like. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking with my mouth closed, and I aggravate myself because I'm like, well, I could have said that more clearly. But divide and conquer. Okay, it really looks that simple. You know, why in the hell would they disseminate these mind-bending drugs to the population? Do you really think it's because they were trying to raise everybody's consciousness? I just have reason to doubt that. You know, uh, based on the ensuing decades and like the like look at what the people like the hippies. 20 years later, they were the same people voting for Reagan and Thatcher. Huh? How is that the age of Aquarius? My ass. I heard that was really good. I've been wanting to watch it. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we'll have to watch it together. Has anyone watched the documentary Thrive? It gets a bit out there with some of the stuff, but a lot of it makes sense. I haven't heard about that one. What's that one about? Okay. On that note, I'm actually going to take my midway potty break because coffee and go and poke the oldest. So I will be back in a couple of minutes. I'm so sorry. It's a 7-year-old's birthday, and it just happened to be a Wednesday this year, which is not the most convenient thing ever was. But the show must go on, right? So here we are. And it's just a couple hours. I'm gonna go to the store later and get some stuff and make him a cake, and we have presents for him hidden in the closet and the whole bit. So he'll be all right. He will be all right, and I will be right back. All right. Simmer down now. Simmer down now. I'm back. Everybody calm down. Okay. Oh, hey, Joe. How you doing? Holy crap, I missed you guys. Hope everybody's doing great. Yeah. Pretty good. Nice to see you. How you been? I'll put it on while I'm playing Dave the Diver. It's interesting. It's about a whole bunch of different conspiracy type stuff. It's by one of the members of the Procter Gamble family, but he doesn't associate with them because of how corrupt they are. Yeah. Too busy? Ooh, relatable. So relatable. Yeah, no, today is my youngest's birthday, actually. So the minute I get off here, I get to go do that stuff. And then this weekend, I get to drive to another state to pick up my little sister, who's going to come and stay with us for a while. And so, it's a crazy day. It's a crazy life. It is. It is. It is. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. Just checking on my Over It post. Because I always put them on Over It. I don't know if anybody goes on Over It. I still go over there sometimes. No, I used to be there a lot more right after they, in a few years, right after they kicked us off of Reddit, but video still got tagged, got flagged for ad suitability, limited ad suitability. I can't wait to find out. End up watching the period poem. Oh, no, I didn't get to that. God damn it. Speaking of being too busy about stuff. Oh, my God. And this week's not looking promising because, like I say, I'm going to spend all day Saturday in the car, which is my prime day to do stuff like that. And then after that, I'm going to have my little sister here, and I really have no idea how that's going to go. I really have no idea. I raised my daughter's rent by $250 a month, and I have a house, so they moved in, which has meant moving everything around a lot. Yikes. They being her and my grandson. Oh, that might be nice, right? It's the CIA. They're trying to keep me down. Yeah, right. I used to go on Over It a lot more, but now I mostly check it once in a while. Right, yeah. I feel like it is sort of kind of just a girly bitch space, which is cool. Let them have their girly bitch space. It's not necessarily my crowd all the time. They don't always love what I do. Every once in a while I strike a nerve over there, but I figure, I go ahead and add my 2 cents to the conversation. But anyways, yeah, this video got flagged with limited ad suitability for reasons I can't wait to find out. May earn limited or no ad revenue due to content identified as not suitable for most advertisers. It remains fully playable and is eligible to earn subscription revenue from YouTube Premium. Well, that's good. We use a combination of automated systems and human reviews to detect violations. So see, because it was, and then it wasn't, and now it is again. So that's fun. Oh, somebody enjoyed this video. Thank you, Jennifer Cooperman. We all get along great. It won't be a big deal. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. I have spent far too many years on the daughter side of that. I tell you, by the time I finally don't have some old lady walking around behind me picking up after me, I'm not going to know what to do with myself. Yeah, there was an apartment complex in Knoxville that sold out to another management firm, and they immediately increased rent. Over 2 years, they priced out 60% of the tenants. Nice. Ugh. I could just go on and on about that. Because, renters don't need stability. What is that? It's fine. You can just price those people out of their homes. No problem. No problem. You'll get new tenants. Better tenants. Like, dude. Good grief. Right? Good fucking grief. Reddit's outrageous. It's way harder on 30-year-olds now than it was when I was 30. Yeah, and I have watched this happen over the course of my adult life. I went from an aspiring adult looking at the market and going, okay, cool, I'll go to college and then have a life. And by the time I was done going to college, it was all different. And like literally I went and got myself a degree in audio technology, which I mentioned in the video last week. Apropos of nothing other than I do have a degree that's not relevant to anything, because back when digital music first became a big deal, there were all these mid-level studios popping up, and like every other person I met, I mean, to be fair, I was at a media tech school, but literally every other person I met was an aspiring Dr. Dre. Like everybody had their own record label and their own stable of artists, like everybody was doing that, and I was going to go work for them and produce, music for, and all that shit dried up overnight. They all had to sell their gear and go get real jobs just overnight. So there's a cultural blossoming that never fucking happened. Oh yeah, I don't do that. My kids are the responsible ones. I just managed to keep a house. Yeah, right on. Like, she's 30. Let her be the responsible one. Be grandma. Spoil the kid and then give him back to her. Isn't that supposed to be the gig? Isn't that supposed to be the fun part? I have been told this by so many other women, that being a grandma is more fun. So, why the resistance to it? I don't understand. Oftentimes I use the trans slurs because I should be allowed to, but I avoid it here in case it gets me in trouble. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you sincerely for that, especially since I read all these comments out loud for y'all. That could get hairy. Yeah. Human resources documentary is, I think, over 2 hours, so that one might be harder to carve out time for. I'm in a college town, so the rent's already astronomically high. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Are you the one who's in Bloomington? I can only imagine. Bloomington rent is probably insane. Gonna be out there teaching her grandkids spells. Right, yeah. Being grandma. Hello. I don't want to be mom to my grandkids. No. I'm doing that bit now. And that's the way, I like to think of it. It's, when, like, having and raising up your own kids is a process that you yourself also go through as a human being. Okay. And you come out the other side of it a changed person if you do any of it right. Right? Okay. So, like, you're just not the same person when your grandkids come along as you were when your kids came. There's no way, So to be a grandparent is just simply a different thing. It just is. And I don't think it's fair to try and do it. Like, we live across the street from from some people who are raising their grandkids, and like, they look so exhausted. Like, I don't think it's fair to ask a 50-year-old to do a 20-year-old's job. It's not fair. Oh yeah, I moved back home, but it's also to help out with keeping house, as my mom is in her mid-70s. Right. And if you get along with your mom, that's great for you guys to have each other for help. That's great. I'm happy for you. I remember that. Right. Yeah. That's good for you. Yeah. Right. That is good for you. She lives on her own, and there's always maintenance on the house. Right. Helping family out is a great thing, but not everyone's families, nice to have around. My kids have always been so good to me and loving to me. Oh, that's great. When my son was 16, I used to borrow his car just to go to the gas station so I could get him gas, because he never let me help. Oh, wow. Yeah. The two we have at home here are really helpful lately too. The oldest is she's in sort of an odd place because, well, I'm not the bio mom of our older two, and she still talks to her bio mom, who is what you want to call a manipulative black hole of a human being. So, yeah. Like, she literally came over here yesterday to talk to my mother-in-law, didn't say a word to me the whole time she was in the house. So, some weird dynamics going on there.
My 7-year-old has been super affectionate lately. I'm sure it's just a phase.
Yeah, so enjoying it. Exactly. All the more reason to enjoy it while it lasts, right? That doesn't make it fake. It's super real. It's the realest of real. It's the only reality he knows, right? He's not old enough to be conniving like that long term, you know?
Belle, their well-being mattered to me a lot, so every single little choice I made was always with what was best for them in mind, and so that's paid off more than I deserve.
Oh, that's great that that's paid off. Ooh, sounds emotionally taxing. Parenthood is emotionally taxing no matter how you slice it. But yeah, if you dive in, head first, it is definitely worth it. Uh I think though sometimes, Joe, I mean, maybe the way that you lucked out was that it was clear that the decisions you made were with them in mind, because sometimes I don't know that from a child's perspective, that's always clear, right? Um, and that's a big part of the worry. You do your best to try and do what's best for them, whether it makes them happy at the moment or not, right? Oh, and that gets kind of dicey. Some wholesome vibes in the chat today. I'm loving it. Yeah, same.
I was also unconditionally loved and had my parents' support as a single mother, which made all the difference in the world. I did not do it alone. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And, just to have sort of that familial network of unconditional support. What a concept, huh? I wouldn't know what that. I genuinely wouldn't know what that's like. So, uh, it's funny you say that about the wholesome vibes in the chat because the video is straight up, the government is out to get you, sort of thing. Like straightforward. I cannot believe. I just. Wow. Like not to bring the down the vibe or anything, but that is supposed to be the topic of today's chat, right? It's feminism being infiltrated by the man, like literally and figuratively. I mean, Gloria Steinem is a woman. I'm not saying Gloria Steinem is a man, but not just infiltrated by men, but the man with a capital you know. And like literally, the counterculture was based on some shit that was disseminated by the CIA. Like fuck. Okay, so any sympathies that any of us had left over for any of that hippie shit should be, I think, called into question. I'm gonna go ahead and just admit right now that I didn't know that going into this. So that's why I think the whole first half of the video is just me setting up the idea that a movement like feminism can be infiltrated and fucked with and has been at great length. The counterculture movement and the civil rights movement, both. These are facts. So the idea that it's been done to feminism is not outlandish at all. Not at all. Hippies. Right, yeah, no, I know. I'm not a big fan of hippies either. I like to say I'm more like a beatnik with a garden, but the point remains that there is a whole lot of that philosophical, follow your bliss type stuff that kind of seeped out into lots of other places because again, the people who were hippies in the 60s were the ones who were voting for Reagan and Thatcher in the 80s. These are the same people, these same individuals. I've met some of them, okay? Make that make sense. I'm Swiss. One of my parents got older. I turned my 2-car garage into a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, which just had to delightful game and living in it since my father died 13 years ago. Oh. And my parents. Okay. So my children got to grow up with their grandparents next door, and it was great for everyone. Right on. And now I'm going to be the grandma next. Oh, that's awesome. Except I'm in Oma. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Come see, come saw. You're Swiss? No way. I actually am learning Romansh. Small world. I assume that's a language they speak in Switzerland. I'm American. I don't know. Fuck. I don't know shit. I don't know shit. Well, that's crazy. You will be one of the rare handful that carries that language. Great. I'm all for supporting, learning of rare languages. We shouldn't let languages die. That's bad. I'm against that. Especially as a writer, I'm against the death of languages. Keep that language alive. I don't know anything about it, but I support you. But I guess I didn't know that they do not speak Swiss in Switzerland. I am at least educated enough to know that. So, half an hour to go and still not dying of heat stroke. Awesome sauce. This is great. I have a lot of peers raising kids because their children are on drugs, and it's heartbreaking. Yep. That's the elephant in the room, right? It's that, a lot of people my age or close thereabouts, had our lives derailed by a couple of different things, right? And, our generational birth rate has been low, but not nothing, right? Far from non-existent. Like, Gen Alpha is out there, right? Although our oldest, our first crop, I think, count as Gen Z. And then our younger guy would be technically Gen Alpha. Which, I feel like the generations are getting shorter. Is that just me? The baby boom lasted for 20 fucking years. And the difference between Gen Z and Gen Alpha is like a decade. But, yeah. I had to delete that since I saw it didn't say what I thought. It said, haha, my talk to text thinks I am Slovakian. Bummer. I don't know anything about them either, but I do know it is very different. I consider myself to be an elder millennial because I do not relate to Gen X in basically any way at all for the most part. Like, yes, I remember rotary phones and dial-up internet. So fucking what? I don't know, maybe I'm too old already, but Generation Alpha seemed like too much. True. When I started hearing about Gen Alpha, I was like, I thought Gen X just dropped. Like, yeah. No, I think Gen Z and Gen Alpha are two ends of one generation. If you want my own theory, kind of like there's old and young boomers. And Gen X is kind of its own little pocket because the older boomers had a little echo boom, and that's what X was. And then millennials are the actual big kind of scattered baby boom, baby boomer boom, if you want to know what I'm saying. And then, our kids would be Gen Z. We're Gen Y, which makes them Gen Z, right? I'm old enough to remember being called Generation Y, too. But that's how Generation X treated us growing up. It's, oh my God, Generation Y, were you born? Generation Y, are you here? Generation, oh my God, you don't know who Kurt Cobain is? Shut up. Like, really. They were not fun to grow up with as older relatives and cousins and acquaintances and whatever. So their cultural touchstones, like Gen X looks like the most spoiled bunch of Y'all take your ennui and get the fuck out of my way because I have actual problems to deal with. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Bye. Like, ah. Okay, so no, I don't. I don't relate to Gen X. Really, I'm there, and like YouTube thinks I do. I made the mistake of watching one thing that was like a comedy thing of like you can't be Gen X unless you blah. And like I had a few of them. I don't care. I still don't relate to the like what's the name of that? Reality bites kind of like attitude to life. I at all. As far as generations go, I suspect the ones who had smartphones for all their adolescence and preteen years, that's the dividing line. Yeah. Yeah. For a long time, for me, it was, do you remember September 11th? As an American, anyway. Do you actually remember that? Because if you did, if you were actually old enough to remember that shit, then you're a part of my generation. And if you don't, then you're part of the younger generation. Kind of used it the way they used to use the Kennedy assassination. Or the moon landing. Yes, I feel like those of us who grew up before developed such different social instincts to the newer generation. Yeah, true. To some extent. Here it's even affecting shopping habits, like the usual friendly greeter thing is super appealing to millennials and older, but Zoomers find it creepy. Okay, no, I have always kind of found that creepy. Okay, and see that's what I'm saying. Like, I was just a weirdo when I was younger. I am a weird older millennial. And the more time goes on, from my perspective, the more general attitudes are starting to come to me, which is bizarre. Like, that's not how that's supposed to work, right? As you get older, the more general attitudes are supposed to be mysterious to you, right? Because your personality formed when you were young, right? And I just. Thing is, we older generations allowed it because it was easier than actual parenting. The cell phone thing. Oh, I've always just found greeters pointless. Yeah. I thought it was American. I thought Americans love that shit. I don't. I don't know. Like I say, I've always had the impression that I'm a weirdo. From so many different points, I couldn't even begin to tell you all the points of data that I have, had thrust upon me over the years, telling me that I am just an outlier. I am just an odd duck, And no, a lot of times things that younger people say and the way that younger people approach things end up making more sense to me. Which, okay, Belle is English, I think I want to say. Right. Which that's one of my favorite parts on here. Sometimes we get going. It's not just Belle. I have one or two other Brits who occasionally tune in, and one of my favorite things is to kind of ping pong back and forth, like, "What's it like over there? What's that's here?" It's fun. Diversity, exactly. I'm British for my sins. I'll complain when you come here that our servers and staff don't do it. See, I don't. I'm not a fan of needless small talk. I don't know. I have yet to go over there. Soon. It is. Isn't big plans British? Yeah, right. Yeah, it's in the works. It's in the plans. I am gonna get over there eventually, but so far, again, the United States is so much, I think, less than a monolith, arguably, than Britain, because, I mean, I know Britain's not a monolith anyway, the cultural diversity and whatever is a thing everywhere, but, like, literally go from one region of the United States to another, and it's like a different country. The customs change, the dialect changes, the way people dress changes, the amount of personal space that's normal between two people in grocery lines changes. Okay, like, so maybe it's different regionally. Maybe it's because I'm a northerner, and northerners are notoriously sour and mean. I don't know.
I will say I do like to have available staff within eyesight, or at least somewhat close, that I can ask for help. Yeah, well, okay. And I think in that way, like for example, Walmart has the greeter, but then like good luck finding a member of staff to actually help you open a case or that actually knows where anything is. Right? In this monstrous store. Good luck with that. They literally created an app for your phone so that you don't have to do that anymore. The trip you've got planned sounds so freaking cool. Oh, I know, right? I'm excited. I have no idea when I'm going to get to finally do that, but shoot, you're more than welcome to come along if you want to. As a medievalist, I'm sure there is plenty up at Chillingham for you to sink your teeth into. It's only steeped in such things. Ooh, 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 ooh. Maybe you'll be able to settle this for me. John Sage is a fictional character, right? Do you know who that is? Because if you look into Chillingham Castle, you like John, like half of that stuff is just dripping with this guy who is supposedly some great torturer. And I'm pretty sure he's not real because I cannot find anything about him anywhere else. And I've never heard of this dude. And I'm like an Anglophile. And like, I feel like if there were this notorious medieval torturer, I feel like I would have heard of him. At least heard of him. You know what I'm saying? The greeter job is a wasted position, right? Yeah. I've worked in customer service. I make the small talk because I know that job can be hell. Right. Right. People abuse service workers when they have it. Right. Now, I'm not saying I hate small talk or anything, but like, on the other hand, sometimes it feels forced. Never heard of John Sage, so you don't know you. I'm okay. So that's one data point. But I'm wondering if you can't look into this if you ever have, a spare 5 minutes. I mean, you have access to the British Library and I don't. So, and it's, they supposedly have this torture chamber in what was literally the cellar when anyone lived in this castle. Like, it's not the torture chamber. I don't know. I would love to get like an actual someone with like some actual like chops in medieval history to comment on any of that stuff, because it sounds like such nonsense to me. And they try and tie William Wallace to this place too, and like there's pretty decent evidence that he was dead before the battle that happened anywhere near this place actually happened. So yeah, and I don't know about the customers who did to the pleasant small talk. Who did do the pleasant? I always really liked them. Yeah. No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with pleasant small talk, but like, on the other hand, if a waitress doesn't come over every 5 minutes and ask me if I'm doing all right, I am not insulted by that in the slightest. Bring me my food and leave me the fuck alone. Great. My mom was a waitress until she saved enough to open her own tavern where she fed and loved people most people didn't. Oh, that's awesome. If you can't find a source for it, then John Sage probably didn't exist. Right. But I don't have all the sources, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess asking you to go and look for something that doesn't exist is probably a wild goose chase, and I apologize. I didn't mean that. But like, I don't know. It's the kind of thing where I would almost love to bring you along now I think about it, because that's, I have somebody to sit there and snicker with while they're standing there telling us about the torture chamber in the goddamn wine cellar. It's ridiculous. And I have period fucking, I actually managed to find a period from over 100 years ago anyway. Not medieval, obviously, but like 100 years ago, it wasn't a torture chamber. It was a cellar. Because it's kind of built into the hill, right? So that part is under, so it's cool in there, so it makes sense to keep. Anyway. That's so cool. I love coffee shops, and a dream of mine is to open my own someday. That does sound cool. I'd give free coffee to anyone who orders in Latin. Like that one pizza shop in Rome. Is that a thing? That sounds awesome. If my mom can do it, you can do it. Make a plan and work it. Yeah. Here. If you set your mind to it, you can do anything. What is that? That's Back to the Future, isn't it? You can accomplish anything. Sorry. My movie quotes are not all on the up and up this morning. Afternoon, What day is it? What year is it? What are we doing? Who am I? Oh my gosh, you guys. This is so much fun. We got 15 minutes and then I got to get off of here so I can go do mom stuff. Like hardcore. It is birthday today. So cannot forget about that. Blog it for all to read. What a legend. My father left me a whole book full of poems making fun of the Reagans that were in Latin. Oh my god. Yeah. What that stuff needs to be digitized for the good of humanity. I agree. I really should publish them because he's got the English translations with them and some are fucking hilarious. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I almost want to say don't even bother translating it because it gives something for the. I mean, they say don't feed the trolls, but that would keep some pedantic motherfuckers busy for a while, wouldn't it? Yeah, for the good of humanity and my sanity. Yeah, it sounds great. His favorite joke was the Reagans went out to dinner, and the waitress asked Nancy what she would like, and she said, the fish. And the waiter said, and the vegetable? And she said, he'll take the fish too. Oh, dear. Were you here earlier when I was bitching about how the Reagan administration, along the lines of, I don't know if you've heard about this yet, but apparently they've been, hiding one or two important health conditions from the American public about our current chief administrator, right? And it's not just health conditions that they've hid from us in the past. We also are all aware at this point, right, that the Reagan administration relied on astrology to schedule meetings and stuff. And that's not really a health condition or anything, but it certainly doesn't look like they took that job as seriously as perhaps they might have. It really makes them look like a couple of astrology, really, and it's funny because astrology, fun fact, I found out last year, is like alchemist fan fiction of the Corpus Hermeticum, those dudes pulled the astrological truths from this ancient tome by not reading the hieroglyphs because hieroglyphs weren't translated until the 19th century. So, what the fuck were they reading? Who in the hell knows? Ancient secrets, it wasn't, right? Astrology is so much bunk. But yeah, the Reagan administration relied on that shit to schedule meetings and stuff. Metaphysics is about as legitimate as phrenology. Well, I mean, what a stupid name, anyway. Like, physics is a study of matter. So metaphysics would be the study of matter? What? I don't... What gobbledygook? I use my Latin to troll American Catholic conservatives like Michael Knowles. Wait. Let me go back up. I missed something good. He hated Donald Trump and Biden. I'm glad he's not here to see this. I don't think he would have believed it. If you write stuff in their chat in Latin, they'll do the right-wing equivalent of Yas Queen, even if you're saying trans rights. Reagan was a complete dimwit, and Nancy was his affair, she called in her astrologist for everything. Right. I thought everybody knew that. Right. But at the time, they did a pretty good job of keeping that under wraps. Okay. Just like with, Kennedy's back problems and FDR's paralysis, for fuck's sake. Okay. Woodrow Wilson's utter incapacitation. Okay. We can go back and back and back. All right. The idea that they're hiding something from us about the current sitting president is not outlandish at all. But just because it has a lot of precedent doesn't mean it's not corrupt as all hell. Study being gobbledygook. Yeah. That's actually insane. Wow. No, yeah. Yeah. The Reagan administration relied on astrologers to set meetings. I am not kidding. I am not exaggerating. That is just true. And astrology is such nonsense. And I can't, the credibility just crumbles, right? When you learn stuff like that. Which obviously would have been why they kept it from people. That would be why they kept that under wraps. It's because it calls all, his entire credibility into question. Right? I will never forgive the Reagans for ignoring the AIDS epidemic. Oh, yeah. No. Like, believe me, we can go on all day about that. Until it affected their child. She was against stem cell research until her hubby got sick, too. Oh, my God. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's like Mother Teresa being flown to a real hospital for when she got sick, right? Yeah. Suffering is sacred when other people are doing it. Conservatives usually work that way. Yeah. Well, why in the hell would you want to preserve the status quo anyway? Is it because it serves you? Okay. The status quo is extremely hierarchical. Nobody's going to argue that it isn't. So by saying that it works for you, you're saying that you're higher up on the hierarchy. Like, that's what that implies. That's the only reason. They treat people within their own circle brilliantly, but only within their own circle, which, unfortunately, maybe a temperamental thing. Like, some people a lot of people apparently just have like limited empathy. And if they don't know you, then they legitimately like feel less empathy for you, which apparently I'm not one of those people because that sounds fucked up to me. But I'm also, the soft-hearted weirdo who has to like go like this whenever somebody is standing on the street corner with a sign because I'm gonna fucking cry because I don't have any cash to give you. God damn it. Yeah. So, maybe I wouldn't understand. Presidents are just the talking heads and yes men for capitalist elites. Right. Like I said, they don't need to think. They just need to do what they're told to do. But it should at the very least appear that they can think. Okay? Because if you want to talk about it being a figurehead, figureheads are meaningless if the office has no respectability. If the office has no credibility. Right? So yeah, the shit that you do in that office does matter because you can erode the credibility of the fucking thing itself. Well, I forgot all about the conservative anti-stem cell controversy. Oh, yeah. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny how things can be front and center for so many years? And then just sort of fall off the radar, right? They just sort of disappear. Yeah. You forget about them. The next big thing is in your face. I didn't mean that well. I'm in the beginning of that. I was in the beginning of another comment. Sorry. Relatable. I think we've all been there. Okay, I'm going to have one last cigarette, you guys, and then I got to go. It's his birthday. I'm sitting here with my makeup bag all open this whole time. It's great. I'm sure you guys love that. My vast collection of makeup that I wear constantly. Remember when evolution versus creationism was a big culture war issue? No. That's probably because I ignored all of that because creationism is such a fucking joke. What a fucking joke. Intelligent design is a worse name for that shit. Okay? Whose idea was it to have the food pipe and the windpipe be the same fucking pipe? Whose genius idea? Intelligent design. I'm sorry. Or my favorite is who the hell's idea was it to put the playground right next to the toxic waste dump? Huh? Whose idea was intelligent design? Are you fucking kidding me? Even as a teenager, I knew that was asinine. So I ignored all of that. So I don't necessarily remember that. But that's my rant that I've been saving up for like 20 years. So you're welcome. Intelligent design is ridiculous. Yeah, it is. Maybe getting lazy in that regard. Obama was a great PR tool. Biden, they just think they can throw any schlub and say, take it. It's as good as you'll get since he's not Trump. Yeah, right. They really, apparently, that's what, that apparently is what they think they have us in a corner, right? Maybe they do. I don't know. You know, the idea that they can just refuse to budge and basically what, hand Trump a second term? I mean, I'm confused on this. Because it's one of two things. Either they really think that people are so desperate to avoid Trump that they will vote for anyone, or they genuinely do not care if Trump wins. And I'm not sure which one of those is worse, or which one of those I think is more likely. What do you guys think? I don't. I was literally the only thing Biden has going for him is not being Trump. Right, yeah. Which admittedly will never change. But, you know, I was listening to that stuff about his declining health this morning, and apparently he, you know, people are saying that he may have Parkinson's, for fuck's sake. And, like, what if he drops dead? Old men have this habit of doing that, you know? I am not suggesting I hope that he does. I don't wish anyone dead, but for God's sake, this is a possibility, okay? An ever increasingly likely possibility that no one is publicly considering, you know? I just did what a mess. The whole thing is such a mess. And like I've said before, I was a member of our local Democrat committee here for several years, and that is how I'm so disillusioned with the national party. They don't give a shit about us here in Tennessee. Tennessee is just considered lost forever as far as liberals are concerned, which is hilarious because at least around here, it's not by any stretch of the imagination. There are plenty of more liberal-minded people around here who all feel lost, which is terrible. Although Biden did recently claim he was the first black woman ever to be U.S. president. Right. Yeah. I feel like the attack helicopter joke, the man's making, does it not? He can identify. I can't even begin to say it with a straight face, but like, theoretically, he can identify as whatever he wants, right? And, you know, if he says he's a woman, we have to agree with him. I'm sorry. I had to say it. Although I support her journey, right? Yeah, gotta stand a trans queen. Exactly. Either option isn't positive. They just work for different institutional lobbyists to represent. It's never the people, the mass citizens. Right, yeah. I honestly just ignore presidential almost entirely politics now. It's too exhausting and exasperating. Right. And if not for the whole Project 2025 thing, I would totally be down with for that right now. Once Trump left office, I checked out of that shit for like 2 solid years because I just couldn't take anymore. And the fact that I still have to hear that man's whiny Brooklyn accent all the goddamn time just aggravates the snot out of me. I didn't can slay it. Such a thought. Oh, I wish Twitter hadn't, essentially gone down in flames because that would be a funny hashtag to start, right? You know, try and get some momentum underneath the idea that he's really a woman because he did say that. He did. Oh, that'd be funny. That'd be some amazing satirical shit that I ain't got the time for, but that'd be really funny. And if I don't actually smoke the cigarette, it's not going to be much of a timer, is it? Because I'm already about to go over. But the chat lets me know that you guys, I think, are on a few minutes of lag from what I'm actually saying. So that's annoying. To be honest, if Biden just starts vigorously twerking during the next debate, that might help with perceptions that he's not energetic enough. Just saying. You know what? I think he would fall over. Like, I don't know if you've been paying close attention to what's been going on here since the debate a couple of last week or whatever that was, but yeah, no. I'm not convinced the man can go up a flight of stairs unassisted, much less twerk. So yeah. And he's 81 years old. Like, there's no shame in that. It's like terrible that, you can't just let the poor bastard be old. But, apparently he's in it to win it. Like, personally, regardless of how demented he is. Apparently he's in it to win it. I don't, good luck trying to convince a dementia patient that they can't do what it is they want to do. Good luck with that. I will say that from experience. They are stubborn. But yeah, so I mean, the corruption in the Democrat Party is absolutely undeniable. I think at this point. So, and if mainstream feminism is corrupt as all hell, that just explains why I feel very little affinity for it. Why so many of us feel so little affinity for it, and why we need to. They did a similar thing with Dianne Feinstein. Yes, they did. Right. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And not to mention, like, am I the only one with still carrying an axe to grind for Ruth Bader Ginsburg? That made me so mad. She could have retired and let Obama appoint a liberal judge, but oh no, we have to stay till the very last minute because we're that important. Honey, no one is that important. Oh my God, the boomeritis. I hate it so much. Sorry for the wait. I didn't realize it was still going. Oh, hey. yeah, I need to go here in a minute because I needed to go a couple of minutes ago, actually, because it's my little one's birthday today. So, like, I have to go and do mom stuff. But, this chat is just so cool. You guys are so much fun. Thank you so much. Really. Please go watch the video, share the video, dare I ask. Yeah, he's 7, so he's excited, so it's gonna be fun. It's a fun age. But yeah, dare I ask, share the video, please, please, please. If anybody has socials that you might help spread the word on, not just about the CIA stuff, but about any of it, really. Whatever video of mine strikes your fancy, because I'm just not getting the views. I'm just not getting the traction lately. I don't know why. It might just be a summer slump thing. I don't know. Goodness knows there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world to distract people from women's issues. But, like, I'm just kind of chugging away over here, So, all help is appreciated. Thank you all so much. And I hope everybody has a good rest of their week. Was it a good time? Yeah, thank you. I hope you have a good week, too. Okay, but watch the period poem. Yes. And human resources. I have no socials, but I will talk about word of mouth is fantastic, too. Absolutely. Gender critical stuff causes fights in my family. I sorry. Same. So happy. Yes, I'm so happy you caught us too. Thank you so much, you guys. And I have to go. Oh my gosh, it's late. And I will see y'all next week, okay? Bye, guys.